Hello, I am Mateo, and welcome back to another bass singer interview. Today we have Lord Crobath, so if you'd like to introduce yourself.
So I'm Lord Crobath. I am a singer. I am in Finland, and I make cover videos on YouTube.
Cool. So the first question I have is what got you into music?
Yeah. I guess first thing that got me into music was my dad. So when I was maybe about 6, 7 years old, something like that, my when I was driving with my dad, he put on this Guns N' Roses CD, and it was totally different music from what I had heard up to that point because my mom was listening to more the pop side of things and like boy bands and things like that. And I heard that Guns N' Roses CD, and I immediately thought that, oh my god, this is great! I have to, I have to either play guitar or some instrument or something like that to make music like that. And that's basically what started it in the first
Nice.
place. And then I had that kind of phase of listening to 80s, 90s rock for quite a long time.
Yeah, and I know that you are in some groups or some bands that you're in. Can you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, so one band that I'm in is Of Blood and Wine. So that is more like a gothic rock band where I use my low voice predominantly. Uh, so I guess that's most relevant for this interview
Yeah.
if it's a bass singer interview. And then I'm also part of Slicks, which is a totally different kind of band. So it's more modern metal with more high screams and more high range and those kind of things. And then I've also done a lot of those kind of smaller projects that have just had releases here and there. So I have, for example, Poganske Pravljice coming out, which is like a Slovenian narrated folk stories kind of thing. There is quite a range to the styles of music that I have made in the past and that I'm still doing.
Nice. And I know that you perform live with some of these groups. What's it like performing live?
It's great. I love it. It's of course it's totally different from recording at home.
Yeah, I'd
Some
imagine.
cover, it's different when there's a crowd there and there's energy and you interact with the crowd and everything like that. So uh, and festivals are great. We've played also a couple festivals. I think those are my favorite. Uh, but yeah, I look forward to gigs all the time.
How big of a crowd do you get in your like large venues and large festivals?
Well, I haven't really checked that correctly how many people were there, but at least we've had a couple hundred on those
All
kind of
right,
festival gigs.
nice. And relevant to the bass singer interview, do you have like have you ever done like stuff when you do the low growls when they get have you ever like EQ'd them and can like shake the room or whatever?
Uh, y- that did happen. So, uh, well, I guess we listened to the Of Blood and Wine album on someone's surround sound system. So we had like a home theater and we played that, and it was actually that experience that really shook the room. It was the lows on the Evelyn song. Uh,
Yeah.
in that end part because there are those really low growls. They're something like -1 octave. So it was really like an experience. Like your body was shaking when those lows came in, but
Nice.
you don't really hear them that well if you just listen on headphones or normal speakers. It was
Yeah. But when you have
yes,
those things, you really feel them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that happened to me once when I was in a studio. I played back a clip of a song that I did or a cover that I did where it hit like some -1 octave note, and normally like on headphones it
Mm,
like you kind of feel it, but in the on the studio it's like on the speakers you could really feel it like. But
mm.
I imagine it'd be cool to like do that live when performing as well.
Yeah, well, live is of course a different issue because, well, this is the range of things I do is so wide. It's kind of a nightmare for a sound guy at a live show
Right.
to
Yeah.
know what to do, what to expect when, you know. Uh, but I have done that at karaoke at least, so I have tried doing those there, and at least people that were there say that they could hear the notes and that it was like a really strong rumble, and
Nice.
yeah, so I guess it works.
What kind of range do you use in your live performances?
uh, Maybe something about zeroth octave to mid seventh, something like that.
All
So
right.
about 7 octaves
Cool.
so far. But at least if we get a consistent sound guy, then I think I will definitely push for more.
And when is it that you started expanding your range to do all these things?
So actually, I haven't been singing for super long. So at first, I've been a guitarist for about 15 years, and only then started singing in around 2019, I would say. Uh, it was so that at first, before I moved to Finland, it was so that I had a couple of months where nobody would hire me, and I was just unemployed waiting to move. And so I used that time to train those first couple months. Then I came to Finland, and I basically joined Of Blood and Wine day one, and then Slicks the year after. I didn't practice consistently, but I basically only practiced with the bands at that time from that point onward, and that was when I started expanding my range and starting to work with all those different styles because the bands were so different. We also recorded the Monster Beast album at the time. And then I finally got my own practice space that I can use on a regular basis, and that was in early 2024. So actually, it's been only about 2 years that I've really worked on expanding my range and
Ah,
all those different techniques that I do.
nice. And I guess then the next question would be why all the range expansion? Because I know there's probably going to be some people who are, especially like all the folks on the range planet, are probably going to be
Yeah,
wondering about what the purpose of it all is.
yeah. Well, for me, it's just fun to have a silly idea and to do
Yeah,
it and to kind of push limits, because I think a lot of the things about singing are only in your head. Singing is maybe like 90% in your head, that you just believe you can't do it, and so you don't do it. Right? The difference between the average singer and, for example, Tim Storms, is that he simply believed that he could vocal fry that far down to set the record, right? So it's about having an idea and just having fun with it. And you know, as
yeah,
uh, as I say, it's not really about showing off or anything like that, or proving that I'm better than anyone else, or like it's none of that. It's really just I feel like, oh hey, it would be cool to sing the song an octave lower. I wonder how it sounds, or what if I added something here, and so I just do.
yeah. I feel that it is kind of fun to just sometimes add these ridiculously low notes to songs. But I think both of us have gotten to a point where we can go so low that it's not even really musical at that point. Given that we've both gone
Yeah,
into like the
yeah,
-6 octave, I think that's
yeah.
yeah. Um, so yeah, and how did you discover the subgrowl and the hyper whistle? Because I know a lot of people don't really know about those techniques. So how did you go about discovering and
Yeah.
improving them?
So the first step into subgrowl were those really low rumbles that I mentioned before with Of Blood and Wine. So and those I discovered one time when I was sick. I was lying in bed all day with nothing to do, so I was just doing low notes basically because my voice was low from the sore throat and everything. Uh, and then I just randomly discovered that, oh hey, I can do those like really, really like strange low growls, and So I actually went and recorded a couple, and then like when I got better, I went to visit the of Blood and Wine guys. I showed them the recordings, and then like we recorded the notes also for the album. They thought it was really sick and that it uh, felt like it really fits the music and everything. And then once I had that, it was similar to what I did with sub growls, so it's a relatively similar technique. Uh, so it just kind of gradually evolved into that as I was doing it. And I think I can still do the original technique, but I don't really use it that much because I think sub growls just sound better.
And how did you learn to like go so low with it? How do you keep expanding your range downward and make it so bassy?
Well, trial and error. It's obviously, I guess I'm one of the very few people who has done this, so it's not like I can read literature on this or
Right, yeah.
or watch anyone else do it. So it is just trial and error.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's kind of similar for the hyper whistle range. So that was just I was listening to Nicolas Seda and some of the very few people that have done that kind of ultra high range before. Uh, and I was just in my room making Ivan Dorin noises until it finally clicked.
Ivan Doran. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
just
I remember you taught me how to do the sub growl recently.
mhm,
Yeah. One thing that's like I noticed is that at least for me, there's a lot of air when I'm doing it.
mhm.
Is it that way with you, or have you found out a way to make it less airy without, using
Yeah,
studio effects?
yeah, yeah. So it's airy at first when you first find that sound. Uh, so uh, in the beginning, you definitely have that kind of airflow that also, if you record it, it's going to be very audible.
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah, so that is definitely a thing. But I don't have that anymore. So I can more hold back air. It basically works the same way as any other singing range. So you have your breath support and you hold back air in your normal singing as well. So it's a bit of a similar process.
Okay. Yeah. And speaking of breath control and breath support, you can hold notes for a very long amount of time. How did you learn
Mm.
to hold notes for so long? Like even more than a whole minute?
Yeah. Oh boy, how to?
Do you have like any tips for the rest
Yeah.
of
So
us?
there are certain exercises you can do for that. So that it's like, so for example, when you breathe in, you feel like at some point you're full, but you can actually still inhale more. So it's like you can actually keep going, if you try it. And so if you inhale really to the limit and then hold air inside for a couple seconds and then release back out, it's going to gradually increase lung capacity. And that's something I got from free divers, so people who spend a long time underwater.
Oh, so you're like
They
studying
have the same
from
breathing
free
technique.
divers, not even from like singers at this point.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So okay, so I have ADHD, so I often just tangent into looking at random things and finding out random stuff, and then I'm like, oh, hey, they train.
Yeah, but I guess
Like
sometimes
I
it
was
can kind
looking
of
at some
work.
random videos about
Yeah,
that, and yeah, and it's like, hey, I can apply this to singing, and maybe it works, and it did.
yeah. And I know a lot of people are probably, you get this in the comments, but about Guinness World Records and applying for Guinness World Records for like lowest note, highest note, widest range.
Yeah, yeah. So that is just very interesting. I don't know, like for example, the longest notes, I contacted Guinness twice, and both times they told me that okay, we don't accept applications for this record. We just find people online who have done this, and there's like a team of people who looks for this. And I guess the reason you can't apply is probably because if you push too hard, it might be dangerous. Like if you, if you're without air for too long. So maybe it's something like that. But then for vocal range, it's mostly a money issue. So they require that you have several experts in the studio with you, and they have to monitor you the whole day to make sure you didn't inhale helium or sulfur hexafluoride or anything like that. And you need to have a sound engineer there that's officially licensed and qualified, and he needs to have a spectrogram and record everything. And I live in the middle of Finland, so if I would call somebody like that, it would have to be from Helsinki. They would have to drive for like 5 hours with all the equipment here and spend the whole afternoon here and then drive back. It would be pretty expensive to hire people for that.
Yeah.
And they also have to be independent. I can't just ask somebody I know. I know plenty of people, but it can't be an acquaintance because maybe they will just say that you did it because they're your friends. So
Yeah. And a bit unrelated to music, but I know you mentioned in one of your videos, and we talked about this a little bit on Discord, that you do magic tricks.
I used to. I don't really do so much anymore. I used to learn quite a couple card tricks, so I was quite interested in those. Uh, I wanted to do also coin magic, but that was just extremely difficult, and I guess it wasn't a passionate enough hobby that I would have spent so much time to learn those two. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think we just have one final thing. Can you give us a range demonstration?
Oh Lord, my girlfriend's still asleep, so that's maybe a bit
Try and
of
be
a no.
quiet, I
But
guess.
I can do at least something. I don't know.
Something low, maybe.
What do you usually do in these
Do
interviews?
like
Like,
a
is it
low
just
chest
chest
note and
range
then do
or
like a sub growl.
let's see? That's I don't know what was that. Okay, so it's like E flat 2 or D2 somewhere there. I guess I've had better days. I've had worse days. Sub growl. Hold on. So the same way as in the video. So like. Oh,
It
does it
is
even pick
not.
up on
No, it's
Discord?
not picking up. Can you like go on your phone and send a recording of that to me on Discord, and then I'll add that to the video.
I think that was about -3, -4,
Well,
something
thank you.
around
So
there.
just if you could send me those videos, that
Yeah,
I'll add them to the video. And yeah, thank you for doing the interview.
yeah.
Um, and
You're
thank you all
welcome.
for watching. And have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.